Hey guys, my name is Miguel, and this is an introduction to the medieval philosophy. Wait a second, philosophy in the Middle Ages? I thought it was all just about swords and battles and knights and monks praying all day long. I even heard that in that time there was no philosophy nor science. It was all just theology and Christianism. I mean, faith and reason don't quite. Well, it's one of the biggest misunderstandings in the history of philosophy. Since the Renaissance, it became common in certain intellectual groups to despise the Middle Ages. The Middle Ages were conceived as some intermediate period between the glory of Greece and Rome and its rediscovery in the Renaissance. But then, some extreme rationalists started to think that their mind was almighty, and they turned their back against religion and faith because they were considered to be some obscure ways of stopping progress. They saw the Middle Ages as a time where you couldn't think just what you wanted. You had to follow the commandments of the church. You had to think what the church commanded you to think. They even called this whole period the Dark Ages. But in the 20th century, a high amount of reliable research has been made that shows that this vision of extreme rationalists is imperfect and has few or none historical foundations. But the truth is that back in those times, there was a lot of culture and thinking. In fact, did you know that universities started in those periods with the express promotion of the Pope and bishops? So Christianism is not opposed to culture. In fact, on the contrary, during the barbaric domination over Europe after the fall of Rome, the work of monks, Christian monks, saving all the classic works of art of the ancient period was great. But let's now discuss the following. It's a fact that most of the medieval thinkers were Christians. But does it imply that there was no philosophy? Are faith and reason incompatible? Well, I think they are not incompatible. But what is faith, first of all? This term may be used to signify many things. The personal act of believing, also the objective truth or reality that is believed. We may use both of them, but none of them is irrational. Christian faith, or what Christians believe, based upon a series of historical salvifical events culminating in the incarnation of Christ, is that God has revealed himself to mankind and has saved them from sin and offers us to be his sons. What I just said, of course, exceeds our natural capacities of reason, but this does not mean that it's in contradiction with it. Man has always sought for God in an existential way. In fact, ancient philosophers also sought for the foundation of reality in a theoretical way. Christianism is not a philosophy. It's a message of salvation based on what is thought to be a real and historical intervention of God in the world. This message, coming all of it from God himself, speaks of things that matter to everyone, about the world, about God, about the explanation of reality. So, in fact, it affects everyone, believers or not, even if it's not a philosophy. And the fact is that this message is intelligible for all, Christians or not. Because even if you can't have a complete understanding of it, you can grasp its rationality. It's interesting to see the experience of some of the first Christians who came from pagan intellectual environments, such as St. Justin. He frequented many classical philosophical schools. He went with the Stoics, the Aristotelians, the Pythagoreans, and the Platonics. But he didn't feel himself satisfied with those schools. Once he had discovered Christianism, he found out that was what he had been looking for. Because this Christianism did not just offer explanations about the ultimate foundation of reality, it also offered the ultimate criteria of how to live, ethical criteria. To sum up, that which all men look for, happiness. Christianism is an answer to our most deep and radical questions, those regarding our happiness, the explanation of reality. In fact, what Christianism does is to overflow us with answers. Like if you were a beggar who receives millions and millions and millions of dollars, but the one who receives this treasure shouldn't have a passive attitude. In fact, he is filled with those answers, and he also tries to show this truth, this goodness, this overflowing answer to everyone around him. But this faith also has its own dynamism, which moves the believer to try and understand better what he thinks it's true, what he believes. In the Middle Ages, we find thinkers such as St. Augustine, St. Anselm, St. Thomas Aquinas, who speak not only with believers but also with non-believers, non-Christians, etc. And they speak about things that concern all of us, all of mankind in fact. They talk about man. They try to prove the existence of God. They talk about virtue, truth, beauty, family, society, happiness. To sum up, things that matter to everyone, Christians or not. So let's say what they have to say to us. Their philosophies can and must be confronted, argued, reasoned about. So, in fact, what they try to do is not to impose their philosophical thoughts, but reason about them. And we can reason with them too. I want to say that this is an introductory video. There is plenty of material to read about the topics we just mentioned, about the philosophy in the Middle Ages, and also about the relationship between faith and reason. You can start by checking the essay we prepared for you. It is in the description of this video below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and be ready for the upcoming videos about the philosophers of the Middle Ages. Have a nice day.